Okay, so we will start with number 4 from the web assign. And what number 4 is looking at is the equation of a circle asking in standard form. So to start off, from your equation formula chart, raise your hand if you don't have one of these, because you should have picked one up last class. If you don't, I'll pass it out right now. Oops. Okay, so as that's being passed out, you need to understand that the standard form on that formula chart that you're getting right now looks like this. This is for a circle. This is one of 4 shapes that we're memorizing as far as all the forms, all the pieces, how to manipulate, how to convert, all kinds of things with these standard forms. Okay. We are given a general form. Okay. So this general form we're trying to manipulate into that, and the way we're going to do it is by that completing the square. In completing the square is a little bit of factoring that we have to make sure that we understand how to do by hand. Okay? So here we go. The only way you can get the center, which is here and here, and the radius, which is here, is to get it in standard form first. So completing the square is a process. Here we go. Step 1. Group all of your x's together and leave a little bit of space for that completing the square part that will go right here. Okay? Next, we're going to group all of our y's together. And we're going to leave a little bit of space for the same thing, completing the square for the y. And if you have a constant on the left side of this equal sign, we want to move all the constants over so that they're all by themselves. And the way that I just did that is I subtracted it from both sides. Step 1 is done. Any questions so far? Okay, step 2 is we're going to look at the coefficients in front of our x squared and y squared terms. If they are not a positive 1, then we have to do some manipulation. If they are a positive 1, then we don't have to GCF out what that greatest common factor is from both and do a little bit more extension. Okay? Because of the fact that they're 1, we are able to skip 2 and go straight to step 3, if you will. And this is the b over 2 squared part. Okay? Can anyone tell me what the b value is for this first one? 8. What's the b value over here? 6. So if I do 8 divided by 2, which is 4, squared is 16, what will this one over here be? 9. Now, my question to you is, I got 9 because I divided 6 by 2 to get 3 and I squared it. My question to you is, will those always be positive? They will. Can someone tell me why these will always be positive right here? Because it's squared. So even if it's a negative b, when you divide it by 2, it's still negative, but when you square it, it'll become a positive piece. Now, I want you to imagine this as a seesaw, huge seesaw, and here is your balancing point. It started equal, but as soon as I completed the square, I've added 16 pounds to the x, and I've added 9 more pounds because of the y. You with me? It's no longer equal. So what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we're going to add them both over here to the right side. Add 16 and add 9. Now they're balanced again. So this is now 9. And my last part is I'm going to make these the squared pieces. And watch. This right here is a trinomial. It's 2 binomials that have been FOILed out or distributed to become this. And the way they've done that is this. If I square root this term, square root that term, and borrow this sign, what's the square root of x squared? X. What's the square root of 16? 4. Borrow this sign, x plus 4 squared is your piece. Over here, it's going to be y. What would this be? 3. And borrow the first sign, y plus 3 squared is equal to 9. we've learned this year in many ways, and we will still learn it in this unit, that everything in the parentheses is to be interpreted as what? Opposite. So the center is actually -4 for the x, and what for the y? -3. So we'll put -4, -3, and guys, what's the radius? 3, because this right here is r squared. So if r squared belongs to the right of the equal sign, and I square root both sides, then r is 3. Any questions from that? Yeah.
So what would you do if you had a coefficient like x squared or y squared?
So let's, on what problem has it? Number 5. Let's look at number 5, and I'll get it started, but I won't complete it, okay? So number 5, if you have coefficients like Megan's saying, look at this. You have 9x squared plus 9, whoops, my x's with my x's. Let me color coordinate them. Okay, so 9x squared plus 54x. Then I'm going to move my y's over. So I have 9y squared minus 126y. Move this constant over. And I have just made room for my completing the square pieces. Oh, thank you. As far as step 1, I'm good to go. Separated my x's, separated my y's, left room for completing the square, and I move my constant. Okay, so like Megan was saying, what's important right now, guys? What numbers are you looking at that you have to start going toward and start altering them? 9. So the fact that these coefficients are not a positive 1, we're going to change that. Otherwise, GCF. I'm going to pull out a 9 from those two terms. Universal, I think pictures kind of helps with steps and processes in what this unit is showing. So let's put a triangle here and a triangle here, because this means change, if you will. Delta is the mathematical term. So the change, let me show you what I'm doing. I pull out a 9. What's left over here? X squared plus 6x. Leave room for the square piece. I pull out a 9. Y squared minus what? You can use your calculator if you need to. What's 126 divided by 9? 14y. Then we have negative 326. And now we're ready to do step 3. Can someone remind me what step 3 is? B over 2 squared. So I'm going to take these b values of 6 and negative 14, and I'm going to divide by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, squared is 9. So I'm going to add 9. Here we go. 14 divided by 2 is 7. I'm going to square it and get 49. Now careful right now. How much are you adding right here? 81. You're not adding 9 because of the fact that the coefficient began over here as a 9. It's whatever you completed the square with times whatever this triangle is. So what you just did is you unbalanced the seesaw, and it's heavier now on the left side, if you will. And to make it even again, you're going to add 81. Over here, you would add, or you ended up adding 49 times 9. 341 is what you're going to add over here. You with me? And then from there, you just finish it off the way we did the other one. Oh, wait. I do need to finish this one off because it has a coefficient. I need you to see what it does. Guys, what do you get over here, those of you with the calculator, if you added the negative 326 plus 81 plus the 341 that I got? 96? Did I multiply that right? 81, 36, and 8, 14. Oh, 24. It's 250. Wait, what?
It's 440.
441. I forgot to carry one of those. So, carry that one more. Now add 441.
So you add all those to the right side.
Yeah. Because you've added it to the left, what you do to the left, you must do to the right. Now what do you get? 196. You with me? Now, this 9 that was in front of these two are going to stay. Now, what will this become? We've done this already now, the last problem. Well, x plus 3. What will this become? Oh, my bad, not x, but y minus 7.
Why is it minus 7?
Because you have to borrow that first sign. Okay. Now look. This is not a circle right now, technically, because of the fact that circles don't have a coefficient here. So I need to divide everything by what? 9. That means this divided by 9 makes it go to 1. This divided by 9 makes it go to 1. And with the calculator, what's 196, please, divided by 9? What? 14. Okay, so what's left is x plus 3 squared plus y minus 7 squared. And now you see that my center is going to become negative 3, 7. And what's my radius?
So it's not actually 14. It doesn't go to a whole number. Like it doesn't go to a whole number. So the radius is actually 14 over 3.
14 over 3? Okay, no worries. So, wait, you get this, right? Is this squared? Okay, so this is what you get when you divide by 9.
That's the square. That's 14 over 3 squared. Is 196 over 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you're good. So, this right here, 196 over 9 was the number that's over here all by itself. Okay? And we know that this is represented as r squared. So what do you do to both sides? You have to square root. Meaning if you square root the whole thing, it's the same that you learned in Algebra 2 as square rooting each, the numerator and the denominator. The square root of 196 becomes 14, and the bottom is 3. So 14 thirds is your radius.
You not put the radius as a decimal? Like, is that not allowed?
You can, but I'd rather you do it as a fraction. Okay, what were the other ones that we were going to look at? 11 and 12, right? Okay, so let's go to 11. Okay, so find the vertex, focus, and directrix of the parabola and sketch the graph. Here we go. Parabola is either going to be this or it's going to be this. Okay? The top one looks left or right. The bottom one looks up or down. You with me? Looking at the equation, which one do I have? The first or second one? What form do I have? The first one. I will have the first one because I'm looking at y squared is going to be developed from that. Do you see how you don't have an x squared term? So it's like x is equal to y squared piece that's going to be completing the square with that y squared piece. Okay? So here we go. First and foremost, let's group our y's together. Leave room for completing the square. Now, am I going to complete the square with this guy over here?
No.
No. And because of that, I don't need this guy right here right now. I could move it over by adding it to the other side if I wanted to, so that I have this. Do you see how x is almost by itself and all this y is over here? It's just like the same thing that we have there. Okay? Here we go. Can I do b over 2 right now with this y squared piece? The b over 2 squared. Can I complete the square? Yes. Why? Because the coefficient is 1. Okay, so 4 divided by 2? 2 squared? 4. There's completing the square piece. And now you've just tilted it downward to the right, if you will, by my analogy. So your seesaw is like this right now. So what must we do? We must add 4 to the other side to now balance it out back to where it's nice and equal. Okay? All right. What will the y squared become? Y minus 2. All right? No worries. And then over here we have 4x plus 4. Guys, what are we trying to get by itself right here? Not y, but we're trying to get x by itself. So I'm going to do what? I'm going to move this 4 by subtracting it, and then I'm going to divide by this 4 so I get x all by itself. Do you agree? So I'll have y minus 2 squared minus 4 all divided by 4, and now I have x all by itself. Look, I have 1/4 here, and I have 4 over 4, which is 1. So this, will become 1/4 y minus 2 squared minus 1 is equal to x. Okay? Now listen, this is very, very important what I'm about to say. This is what I chose to do when you were calling them out. 11. This is in vertex standard form. Look at your formula chart. Your formula chart would have something that would look like this. The reason why I don't like this form is because from here, this is what I've taught you all year, things that are in parentheses are the opposite. So y is a positive 2. Things that are on the outside of parentheses, you follow the rule. X is negative 1. It's what you see. Guys, if you looked at it in this form, what would you mistakenly put there? Positive 1, and it would be wrong. So don't interpret the ex-wife method, if you will, from this form. Only do it when x is by itself, or when y is by itself. You with me? So, the vertex. Any questions from this at all? So what's my vertex going to be? Negative 1, 2. What's my focus going to be? Okay, well, we got to do the focus. Focus in directrix, 4 AP classes is one tough year. The way I used to teach it is, if you fail one of my quizzes, I'm going to whap you across the head. Which, don't record that. But anyway, I like 4 AP classes as one tough year is better. That's fine. All right, so let's find focus. The focus will come from P. That means we must know A. What's A? 1 over 4. So 4 times 1 over 4 times P is equal to 1. Those cancel, so P is just 1. So from the vertex, I'm going to jump 1 unit. The question is, what direction? Okay? From here, we know it's going to be a horizontal, so it's one of these. And because of the fact that this is a positive, we know it's going to look to the right. So my sketch, if I were to draw one out, the vertex would be at negative 1, 2. And it's going to be looking to the right. Oh, thank you, Mom. I was like, what? Okay. So negative 1, 2, thank you, Caleb, is going to look like this. Okay? the jump that we solved for P is 1. So if I jump 1 to the right, there's my what? Focus. So the focus, basically the light of the flashlight, if you will, the light bulb, is going to be 0, 2. That would go here. Right? And if I jump 1 to the left, it's going to be what? The directrix, which is what equals what? X equals -2. So x equals a number is a vertical line. Y equals a number is a horizontal. And that's how we get that. 12 won't be on the quiz, so I'm going to reserve because we're running out of time. 12 for the next time I see you, okay? Could be on the test, but it's not on the quiz. Is there one more that you want to do real quick that I can at least get started?
I just want to understand that one.
Number 10? Is that what y'all said? Okay. So number 10. Find the vertex. Here we go. Y is equal to -5x squared. This looks like this. And the way that they have it in your notes, guys, the way that formula chart has it, probably looks like this. And just so you know, you could put all of these into, you should be able to put them all into WebAssign and then all be equivalent. There's some of you who haven't started on your homework. Real quick, this is very important what I'm about to say. When you have something that looks like this for some strange, odd reason, they don't want you to put it in there with this A coefficient in your answer. So you would simplify it at the very end of getting your x squared piece all by itself, and whatever this is, that's how you would put it into the WebAssign. I don't know why they want it like that, but they don't want a coefficient on your x squared term or your y squared term. Okay. So if I'm looking at this, what is my vertex? If this matches up, what would go there? 0. Okay. Whoops. And what is my y value from what you see right here? 0, because there's nothing here. So it's like plus 0. So 0, 0 is your vertex. Okay? It's a -5x squared. Which direction is it looking? Down. It's left or down? It's down because it's y equals x squared. If it was x equals y squared, then it would look left. Okay? And now we got to see, where does this light bulb go? Where is the focus? What's the jump P value? Okay, here we go. So for AP classes, it's one tough year. A is what? -5. So -1/20 is P. You with me? So a jump of 1/20 down is going to be that P value. So how do I show this focus? How would I show this as a point? 0, -1/20. Okay, what would the directrix be? It'd be 1/20 jump up, which is that. Okay, go ahead and clear your desks. You can keep your calculator out and the formula chart. Here comes your quiz.